So now heading down towards where Ashopton Hamlet once lay, and it's hard to think that below here there used to be that really small hamlet, population of around about 100 people at the time, and there was a church, there was farm buildings and cottages. It was also worth mentioning that the Bamford and Howden Railway came across here at one time over a huge railway viaduct. Before all this was here, before the water was there, before the reservoirs was there, and before this viaduct was there, and that continued all the way over there and headed off as far as Derwent Dam, and it was used for construction of Derwent Dam and the Howden Reservoir. About a quarter of a mile down there, we've left Ashopton Viaduct behind, and the first little thing that's caught my attention is this, and it is the remains of a tree. Look at that. That is stuck fast in the ground where I believe it must have originally grown, and you can see where it's been cut off, look, all the way around the other side. Normally submerged and out of sight. You can see looking back up the embankment how far down I am. In fact, there's another one right at the tip of my finger, look. So there's a nice little tributary there, look, and it's got this beautiful stone walling coming across, look. It looks like it flows from the top there and trickles down like a waterfall and comes along into the main body of water. But of course that would still normally be underwater most times of the year. So let's go and take a little look. First of all, I want to show you this. So that's where we're going in a moment, but there's this stone laid into the ground, look, heading off down towards the base of the reservoir. Now, what could this have been? Was this put in during the construction? I imagine it would have been, but unsure as to why it would be there. Or was it actually originally some kind of path? We've got some tarmac just here, look, so maybe that gives it away. It was some kind of road down into the bottom of the two sunken villages. In the distance over there you can just make out Ashopton Viaduct, but this tarmac, look, it does indeed carry on. And there it is again, look, and disappears deep below. Even under the water, look, you can just about make it out. And also, quite curiously, next to what looks like the road and that little stream behind me are these rusted metal sections. Look like they may have carried something. They go on and on. There's another one there, look. Or is that one actually broken off? That one's loose. So what could they have been? Some kind of fence, maybe. So here is that little stream, look, coming down out of the woodland in front of us and above this stonework, which is quite decorative really, considering it would usually be underwater. I'm going to jump over to the other side, and it is dropping down just there, look. Also appears that it is coming from under the ground down there as well. If I jump around there, we may be able to see a little bit better. So right in the centre of shot there, it is indeed coming out of the stonework and trickling down, and you can see the main body of the small waterfall coming down. I find that curious just here, look, there's actually a tree which has continued to grow, and it has eventually died, but it must have put up a fight. So I'm going to push on and head towards Howden Reservoir, and hopefully we'll find a few things where the old Derwent village once lay. Right about there, I don't know if you can see it in the water, there's a curious couple of pieces of vertical stone. I can't go down there any closer because it is deep mud, so I'm not going to, but the right hand side one has even got a bracket on it, which would have probably had a hinge on it. So maybe some sort of old farm access or horse pedestrian way just there. Also, something else to point out, all the way on the far side, there did used to be a railway line going all the way to Howden Reservoir, and the purpose of this line was to actually construct Howden Reservoir, and it closed around about 100 years ago. But the line did come back into use from Bamford as far as Ladybower, and the tracks were relayed for the construction of said reservoir. And then the line closed again and is now a lovely little walkway. Just over there is a curved roof, and that is a former pump house or pumping station. I'm going to see if I can get a decent photo of that when I'm on the other side, because it's pretty much a bit too far away, and I don't think I can really get the drone up around here. What's just as interesting though is behind me now is the former Derwin Church, and there are a few relics and remains of this for us to see. So right now I'm stood on what would have been the path down to the graveyard. You can see a coping stone there. Whether that was anything to do with the path, I don't know, but it would have come down, and all this area here would have been the graveyard. Over there you can just make out that pumping station that I mentioned earlier, and there is another boundary wall leading down towards the said graveyard, and we'll go and look at that in a moment. If I turn about, you can see the path going up. I've got to go through a bit of mud to do this. There you go, that's what I've just come from. Yeah, there's your path, look, and that does in fact lead up to the church. The building wall, look at this, all the way around. You can still see the foundations are still set in place. This is remarkable, isn't it? There's a little bit higher up just there, look, and even a bit of red brick. But what is more startling, I'm going to show you around this corner, is we've got a keystone with a date on it. 1867. Look at that, that is amazing. And that little bit of decor on there as well. As we continue around, you can see that outer traditional church walling just there. So it's good to see that it is completely not all been demolished, and more outer wall and base and foundations. And this is that boundary wall I was telling you about, leading off down to the graveyard. It's got its coping stone missing, look. So I'm assuming that is probably submerged and sunken somewhere. But that is in remarkable condition. It usually be quite a few metres below water level. A little look at Scottish side-by-side maps, and you can see the name Derwent in the top right hand corner of the drawn map. Now if you imagine the Went part of Derwent to be on the right hand side where that tight curve of the reservoir is today, if we go down to the central part of the map and left a little bit, that is our location of where our church ruins is. and where the church once stood proudly, and there was also a school, a vicarage, and also Derwent Hall amongst many other buildings and residents. So I'm going to continue to follow this little brook just down to my left, and it's got the original course of the waterway down here, look, and you can also see where a bridge once was, with the stone piling just here and just there, and it must have gone across, and that is coming from up there. So just down from the church entrance, which is there, you've got this remarkable stone bridge. Isn't this beautiful? Bringing this brook down, which heads on, bypassing the church and into Ladybower. And again, all this would normally be underwater. Let's have a look over the top and down the other side. There we go, so that's the view looking downstream. If we go around here, again, look at that. That's an absolute beauty, isn't it? And that's what we've got. There's a little stone waterfall which I'll take you to see in a moment. But I love this. Just preserved and lost in time. Just across the way from where the church ruins are, we've got a square foundation of some sort of building. It also seems to extend out just there, look. Let me take you around the other side. There was a little bit of old drain pipe in there, look. I wasn't sure what that would be. I shall have a look, and if I can find anything out about it when I get back, I'll add it. On the 17th of March 1943, the church held its last service, but the bell can still be heard. St Philip's Church in Chaddeston, built in 1955, is now the home to the former bell here. Some more ruins just there, look. It's been demolished. For point of reference, the church was just there, and the pumping station or pump house is just there. Again, I'll have to have a look on maps later on to see what this was, if I can. But I can see further foundations below the waterline. I don't think the camera's really going to pick it up, but there is indeed something else there. We're getting more and more towards the shallower part of this reservoir, and hopefully that'll uncover something else. Just the curious remains of something. Maybe some kind of former agricultural equipment. Lots of bars and rods and joints. What a strange looking thing. Anybody know what this may have been? Maybe the remains of a boat, could it be? As you can see right now, it is turned into more of a river. I'll turn you about, and that's where we've come from. But it's just getting narrower and presumably shallower as we head off towards Howden. And the ground is just cracked up like a dried out riverbed. There's the remains of something else just there, rusting away. This is absolutely astonishing right now. Now this is quite curious, look at this. We've got stones laid out like the width of a path heading towards the central part of the reservoir, and it looks like there's some kind of form of foundations here. So that's looking towards Howden. You can see, I mean, what's like a giant dried out riverbed, and over there is the huge body of water. But then this area is a little bit raised, but the stone path-like area continues on. And this is as far as it goes, and I've got a feeling it may have been some sort of walk, because looking all around, and apologies for the wind, you can see numerous tree stumps, so it may have been a kind of like woodland area with a nice little path going through it at one time. There's some old stone chunks over there from former buildings, and it looks like there's something demolished and ruined over in the distance. This is the body of water we've got. And look at this rust-like mud on the floor. It's still so beautiful, isn't it? Now what I found here is extraordinarily peculiar, and it's similar to what we've just been looking at. You've got these long rows of stones going up as if to be like a pathway. But if we jump over, there's actually 3 rows of these stones in like a parallel line running all the way over here. It's like the square foundations of some sort of building that was probably once over there. But if I pan around, you can see there's a hell of a lot of them right next to what looks like an old building. Well, it is an old building, and we're going to go look at that in a minute. But I think the foundation of these ruins are going to be best seen from above. Now this is absolutely brilliant. This looks like some kind of former farmhouse, or a kind of, you know, an outcrop where maybe someone once lived. You can see here, look, on the outside you've got where was once a window frame. You can actually get into that part of the building and down to the lower level. Another base of a window just there, like you see that stonework, and someone's been a bit decorative on top. If I swing you around, it looks like this would have been a separate room, and maybe that was like an outhouse, because that door looks a little bit narrow and it's still got a bit of the old wooden frame on there. How about that? Look at that. So taking a little look thanks to Google Maps, now pointing down to the right, that is the remains of Derwent Village where we were earlier in the video, and up in top left you can see that little white line going vertically from top to bottom across the reservoir, and that is the piped aqueduct we've yet to walk under. So just to the right of that is the location where I am, and looking at Scottish maps side by side we can see that it says water houses. So on the map on the right you can see the piped aqueduct, and then just to the right of where that would have been around about 80 years ago would be these water houses. Some have suggested to me it was actually a small sewage plant or water treatment works. If anybody knows what that was, please drop us a comment below to confirm or not confirm this. We can continue on around the edge, and lots of demolished slate and stonework. That's our view looking towards Howden, and we've got that piped aqueduct just there, and the view back towards Derwin Church, Derwent and Ashopton Viaduct is quite a considerable way down there now. Bring you around, and there's something else. An old stone staircase or steps down into what was a lower section of land. Now this looks like, if this was an old farming establishment, maybe this was somewhere that stuff and items and goods was lowered down onto horses and carts. If I was stood up here, this would probably be cart level, and we've got the old steps going down to the base. I can't resist, although it'd be easier just to walk around, I've got to go down the stone stairs down to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. There they are, look at those. And that is the building that was just looking at. I'm going to get back and have a look at that in a minute. Let's have a look at this one more time. So it's a mixture of stone and concrete. I think it probably was some sort of loading area. Over here we've got what is a small stream that appears to be coming out from the hillside over there and coming along just here, and further foundations of something else. Maybe it was a little bridge, or maybe some sort of sewer. So right now I'm in what I believe was that little room we saw at the very beginning. So those garden-like areas we just seen from the drone was over there. And we've got this wall coming down. There's like a recess just here, look. And maybe that actually used to be an old fireplace. Just there, let's have a look. But it is just collapsed inside. Potentially a doorway, that looks like a step just there. And that also looks like a window or a window frame just there. So maybe the fact that this one is lower than the rest of them, could it be an old cellar? So I'm going to leave all this behind now. This, what I believe was some kind of farm or agricultural land, and those peculiar landscapes, kind of gardens or small fields over there that we saw from the drone. Now we've got the piped aqueduct in front of us, and we're going to attempt to go below that and out the other side. This is very green here, so that suggests that this area has not been underwater for a considerable amount of time. Or could the green in fact point to the fact that this is very, very healthy soil and mud, if it was indeed previously agricultural just here and related to the building we've just been looking at. So just beyond the piped aqueduct now, we've come underneath it as you've seen, and you met with this. And it looks like it's an old Mini Cooper. Can you make that out in the middle? I can't really go any closer because of the mud, maybe a little bit. So that's clearly, it must have come down that embankment a long time ago. I could just make out the steering wheel in the side. That is on the right hand side as you'd usually expect. But what a odd thing to find. How many decades has that been laid under there? Just forgotten about. Someone's pride and joy. I hope there's nobody in that. If anyone knows the story about the Mini, let me know. So we are now fast approaching the visitor centre. I can see cars on the hill. I'm still walking on cracked mud and clay at the bottom, and the piped aqueduct's behind me. I'm going to follow the stream up a little bit more, and I'll see you if I find something else. So we've left the reservoir behind now, and this is the course of the Derwent down here. In the background, you'll see that, and it is a beautiful stone bridge, look. What a lovely structure that is, what a lovely curve that has got. Can't really get down anywhere close to see it at this point because the river is in fact down there. I may be able to get the other side and we can have a look at it there. But before that, I've got to show you Derwent Dam, and behind that is Howden Reservoir. Look at that. It is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? And it was designed by Victorian engineer Edward Sandman. He specialised in stone dams and he liked to add Gothic styling, such as the twin castle-like towers on each end. And from 1902 to 1916, thousands of navvies dug foundations, hauled stone and built the identical Howden and Derwent dams with gritstone quarried from nearby Grindleford. Now I'm well aware some of you might be thinking, hang on, you didn't really go and have a look at Derwent Dam very well. I'm going to save that for another time and do some sort of walk from there and around the top Howden Reservoir. So what we're going to do now is walk back on the opposite side of Derwent and Ladybower and see if we can see anything else along with the roof of that pumping station we saw near the old Derwin Church. Now this construction is roughly about halfway between Ashopton Viaduct and Derwent Dam down there, and it's got to have something to do with the underground piping in the area. Remember the aqueduct, the piped aqueduct we saw earlier on in the video? I must believe that that has got to run below here somewhere. But that is a very old stone building, isn't it? Similar to the construction, the foundations of Derwin Church, isn't it? We can take you around the other side, and there's a nice door there, look. And there is the view of the reservoir. Pretty much back down on water's edge now. Still a long way up from where the water actually is. I'll turn you around, and over there, that's where we were earlier. That is Derwin Church. And just there you can see in front is that curved roof that we saw earlier. That roof of the pumping station, the pump house. It's usually completely submerged. And there is a photo or two on the internet, which I'll try and add to this while I'm talking to you right now, of the actual building completely out of the water. That is how low the levels in this reservoir can indeed get. If I turn you back again, I can get you nice and close. If I get an opportunity, I'll get the drone over there too. I've come down as far as I can and I'm head on to the building lot. You can just see that curved outline, and there's 4 individual support posts in the corner. I'll try and get a close-up photo of it for you. Don't really feel that I can actually use the drone around here. There's a lot of people and I'm just going to be sensible. If I wait around long enough, I might in fact get an opportunity to do so, just to take a close shot of that for you. Yeah, I think this is where I need the inflatable kayak really. But that's remarkable, isn't it? There is in fact another one of these up here, but that is out of the water, and I think it is a continuation of that pipeline and that square stone building we saw just a couple of moments ago. Just see me go between 2 parallel pipes, and then the next shot you saw 2 green domes, like a British racing green domes. They, I believe, would be inspection hatches for those pipes, and it is still a continuation of that pipeline from the piped aqueduct over near Derwent Dam. Right, so what I've got behind me is another one of those probable pump houses or pumping station. This is the one from the opposite side that I mentioned earlier on, right at the very beginning of the video. There's Ashopton Viaduct, look over there. And you've got to imagine this is what is underwater back that way. We saw it earlier and we could see the curved roof, couldn't we? But it was just tiled. You can see this was probably also tiled, but it's been covered in some sort of reinforced shotcrete and weatherproofed as well. So this gives us a really good idea of what the one looks like that is usually lost and submerged at Derwent Village. So again, taking a look at the Scottish side by side, on the right hand side you've got the Google Maps and the Ashopton Viaduct, and on the left hand side you can see that it is not there. But if you can just imagine the viaduct being there for one moment, and then looking below you can see the small hamlet of Ashopton and the roads and the buildings such as the Ashopton Inn, the Methodist Church too. Just imagine what was once deep below that water. So here I am back at Ashopton, and the final point of this walk. Now Ashopton, it used to have a Methodist church. It was built in 1840, and on the 25th of September 1939 the Methodist church performed its final service, and there was a final hymn, and this was sung with great sadness. The day's dying in the west, and then the Methodist Church, and Ashopton was soon gone for good. Bye bye.